and welcome to the In Focus series section of Drishti IAS. I'm Aisha Singh, and in today's video we will be discussing about a topic which is recently so much in news as it has replaced something which has been in our country and has been followed in our country since so many years, and this was formed even before independence, and this was a British era legacy which we were following. But now that we have something of our own, we need to talk about this, and we also need to talk about this in a sense that what has been changed over a period of time. So we will be talking about in today's video the Indian Penal Code, popularly known as IPC. And now that IPC has been moved away and the Nyaya Sanhita bill has come up, so we will be discussing about few of the changes that has been made. First about the news, then what are the new offences that has been included in the Nyaya Sanhita bill, and what are the deletions that has taken place. And in the end, a mains practice question topic is of relevance from GS paper 2, that is policy, government policy and interventions. So Indian Penal Code to Nyaya Sanhita, what's new, what is out, what changes. And now that Nyaya Sanhita bill has been passed, the act has been made, so it is Nyaya Sanhita, it is no more a bill, it is Nyaya Sanhita 2023. So the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita bill 2023 makes several key departures from the Indian Penal Code. And what are these several key departures? That is, what are the new offenses? So what has been included? So first let us talk about the promise to marry. So if someone makes a promise to some other individual or to the second individual that the person will marry to that person, then what will happen? So clause 69 that seems to ostensibly tackle the love jihad narrative by criminalizing deceitful promise to marry. So if someone is making a deceitful promise to someone about marriage, then that is a problematic situation. And what has been given in the Nyaya Sanhita is, whoever by deceitful means or by making promise to marry to a woman without any intention of fulfilling the same, it means the person is making a false promise, has sexual intercourse with her, and the sexual intercourse has also been done, such sexual intercourse not amounting to the offense of rape shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 10 years and shall also be liable to fine. So if anyone is making a false promise to any other person about marriage and also has the sexual intercourse, and then the marriage does not take place, then this will be a punishable offense, and 10 years of imprisonment can be made and a fine can also be done. Then mob lynching. Now mob lynching is a point which has recently been added as many cases were coming up in our country. So mob lynching cases when a mob of 5 or more individuals, it means the numbers has specifically been given 5 plus individuals, commits murder based on factors such as race, caste, community or personal belief. The provision has punishment that extends from life imprisonment to death. It means on the basis of caste, color, sex, race or community, if a group of 5 or more people commits a murder, then the imprisonment can be life imprisonment or death. Death penalty can also be given in the case of mob lynching. So this was a big change which has been made. Now about organized crime. Organized crime for the very first time, and tackling organized crime is brought under the realm of ordinary criminal law. So for the very first time, organized crime is under the ordinary criminal law. And in case of death, so if the organized crime is taking place and in that organized crime death of a person happens, then punishment ranges from life imprisonment to death. And if death does not happen of a person, then the punishment can be for 5 years. So first time organized crime is coming under ordinary law, Then if organized crime is taking place and death of a person takes place, then the punishment can be from life imprisonment to death, and if death of a person does not take place, then the imprisonment can be of 5 years. Now terrorism. Now terrorism has also been included into the criminal law. Now about terrorism, large parts of the language in defining terror activities has been taken from the stringent UAPA Act, and that is the Unlawful Atrocities Prevention Act. So Unlawful Atrocities Prevention Act has been taken into consideration while talking about the term terrorism in the Nyaya Sanhita. And procedurally, the UAPA is more stringent and the cases are heard in the special courts. So as compared to Nyaya Sanhita, the UAPA is more stringent and is more strict about the terrorism. Now, attempts to suicide. If someone attempts to suicide, then what can be done? It criminalizes whoever attempts to commit suicide with the intent to compel or restrain any public servant from discharging his official duty, and prescribes a jail term which may extend to 1 year with community service. So if anyone forces anyone, or if anyone stops anyone from doing something or is attempting to commit suicide, then the imprisonment can be for 1 year with community service. It means the person will have to do something for the community also. Now few of the deletions. It means what has been deleted in the Nyaya Sanhita. So that is unnatural sexual offences. Unnatural sexual offences has been deleted. It means section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, which criminalized homosexuality among other unnatural sexual activities, has been repealed under the BNS. So unnatural sexual offences like the Indian Penal Code section 377 was criminalized, and now under the BNS the unnatural sexual offences or the sexual activities has been repealed. So the IPC section 377, which was criminalized, has been repealed under the BNS. Now about adultery. The offence of adultery, which was struck down by the Supreme Court as unconstitutional. So Supreme Court has struck down adultery as unconstitutional in 2018, has been omitted under the BNS. So this has also not been mentioned under the BNS, the topic of adultery. Then about the thugs. So the people who used to do robbery, they were called thugs. So the BNS has fully omitted this provision. So the provision of thugs or this word has been omitted and has not been mentioned in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Then gender neutrality. So among many things, what has been made in the BNS is that the men and the women has been treated equally and gender neutrality has been done. Like offences dealing with procuration of a girl, that is 366A of the IPC, has been made gender neutral. An offence dealing with kidnapping of minors. So whatever the offences which was related to the kidnapping of the minors, the age for both men and women has been made equal, and the age that has been set for both is 18 years of age. Then adults, the offence of outraging the modesty of women and voyeurism now has gender neutrality. So both men and women in this case will be treated equality. Gender neutrality has been made, and in case of kidnapping of minors also, male and female will be considered at the same level, and that is the age for both of them are 18 years of age. So this was about few of the inclusions and few of the deletions from the IPC and the BNS, the difference between them. And in the end, the mains practice question, and because the topic is so much in news, you need to prepare the topic of BNS thoroughly, that what is the difference between them, historical background, what are the deletions, and what are the inclusions, and also you need to prepare about the pros and cons of both. So it is a topic that you need to do. So what is the difference between the Indian Penal Code and the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita? Very basic one, because you need to write about both IPC and then about the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Talk about the difference, that means talk about the deletions, talk about the inclusions, and then in the end write a conclusion also. So try to do your answer writing practice, and that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading and keep writing.